I've calmed down a little bit after Man United beat Brentford 2-1. Yes, it's only Brentford. Yes, I got a bit excited, but that was just as much relief, that reaction from me, as it was a celebration. United needed that win. Ten Hag needed that win. And our season has to start now. And that's exactly what Ten Hag said after the game. What I'm going to do in this video is run through 5 things I think we learned in that game. And make sure you drop a like on this video. There's probably not many videos you could have liked over the last few weeks. This is one of them. And where else can you start but Scott McTominay? You absolute hero. I said it in my match reaction. I'll say it again now. There is nothing better in football than watching your team score a last-minute winner. It is the best feeling. And Scott McTominay, for him to do that, I've got to give him so much credit, all right? Because I've been very critical of McTominay this season because I think it felt like his head has been out of the club a little bit after a failed move. But I'm not just talking about what he said here. It was more what he did. That cameo from Scott McTominay was incredible. And for him to have done that for Erik Ten Hag was major. You saw it in their celebration together. It really, really was. And this is what Ten Hag said about Scott McTominay after the game. He said, you see, he is united in everything in his heart. He's playing for the badge. He gives his life when you're coming on and you do this for the team. It says a lot. And well done to Scott McTominay, right? Because at a time when Ten Hag needed to his most trusted players to deliver, they didn't. It was Scott McTominay. Incredible moment for him, and that needs to be the turning point this season. And that is the second talking point. This season has to start now. And Erik Ten Hag, speaking after the game, said this has to be the turning point. Man United beating Brentford at home. Is it the pinnacle of our season? No. So far, it is. Kind of tells you how bad this season's been so far. But this has to be the turning point, right? Ten Hag's under no illusions. The majority of that game was poor. United, I covered all of that in my match reaction. But no one's looking at that as the blueprint for United going forward. But he says it here, and look, I like that quote from Erik Ten Hag. In football, it is eat or get eaten. And United have been gobbled up for 10 years. It's been a long time since we've been the predator rather than the prey. But United needed that. Ten Hag needed that, right? Because I was under no illusion that had Manchester United lost that game, that would have been 3 consecutive Premier League defeats. That would have been 7 defeats in 11 games this season so far. I mean, as much as I know that sacking Ten Hag is not the answer, and nobody will change my opinion on that, because I know what my club is, and I know what's going on behind the scenes, I also know that it's a results-driven business. And the pressure would have been cranked up on Ten Hag. And that's why that moment was so significant. And that's why I suppose there was such an explosion of relief in my celebration as well. It was just, that has to be, right now, going back there, it has to be the turning point. That has to be the book closed on part 1 of this season and the book opened on part 2 when we play Sheffield United, who are bottom of the league, I think. And then we play Copenhagen in a must-win Champions League game. And then we've got City in the derby at Old Trafford. This has to be the turning point. And I tell you what, if that isn't the turning point, then I'm not sure there will be a turning point. For United to win that game, to turn it around, it's the first time ever that United have been trailing at 90 minutes and have gone on to win a game in the Premier League. That has to be a significant moment. And I think there was quite a significant moment that we learned in that game about Ten Hag and his most trusted players. I think Ten Hag has now realised that he's going to have to shift his mentality on them. And there's 2 players I'm going to focus on here. Number 1 is Casemiro. Casemiro was instrumental to United last season. Whenever Casemiro was out of the team, we looked like a completely different team. We couldn't cope without him. Ten Hag took him off at half-time, which said a lot. And speaking after the game, he said, look, I just wanted more football. It's quite a cutting comment from Erik Ten Hag. And I think the fact he took Casemiro off at half-time is a sign. I don't think there's going to be any players now that are really sort of exempt from being taken off. And when it comes to Marcus Rashford, I think if you look at the substitutions, I don't actually know this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Last few times he's been taken off, it feels like he's getting taken off earlier in games. Ten Hag has given Casemiro and Rashford more leeway. Why is that? Rashford scored 30 goals last year. Casemiro was by far and away our best midfield player last year and instrumental in us winning the League Cup. That's why those players are getting more grace, are getting a longer grace period from Ten Hag. I think it kind of expired for Casemiro in that game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start on the bench in our next game against Sheffield United, but maybe after the 2-week international break, things will change a little bit. Calm down. These players are now got to realise they're not in that team just by their names anymore. Garnacho coming on and making a big difference. Involved crucially in the first goal, the equaliser from McTominay. And just no one gets a hall pass. Now, people are going to be critical of ONANA, right? And I'll speak about him next. But at a time when Erik Ten Hag needed to look towards his most trusted lieutenants to sort of drag United through this, he's looking towards Rashford before. He's looking towards Casemiro before. And it was Scott McTominay off the bench with 2 goals. And it was Harry Maguire with an assist. And a pretty solid performance with Varane being injured. It's not what Erik Ten Hag would have expected. It's not what Erik Ten Hag would ever have planned for. But these are things that he's learning. And I think he's absolutely learning there that he can't trust Casemiro and Rashford maybe as much as he thought he could. And the fact he took Casemiro off at half-time really, really tells me that. One player who hasn't been dropped yet, and I don't think will be dropped in the near future, is ONANA. But I'll tell you what, he needs help, man. I don't know what it is. I think this celebration really said a lot. ONANA pelting it down the pitch, running to Scott McTominay, grabbing him. Thank you for saving me after I made an absolute... Another just a stupid mistake. ONANA did the hard part there in getting down for the ball, but he doesn't have a strong enough hand. His hand didn't go... I suppose his hand isn't down. Technically, he didn't get down for it. But ONANA should easily be making that save. And of course, there's going to be, it's a mistake to sign ONANA. Oh, we should have kept David De Gea. David De Gea was not the goalkeeper that we need. All right? ONANA, as it looks, in his current form, Manchester United, he doesn't look anything like the goalkeeper that we need. But he is a significantly better goalkeeper than what he is showing. And I don't know what that issue is. You know, in the same way, I'm looking at Casemiro now and going, it's not physical with Casemiro at all. Like the basic passes that he consistently balls is up. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the way I'm looking at Andre Onana's form. That doesn't make any sense, man. I think he's crumbling under the pressure of the spotlight of Manchester United. So whatever it is, I think Erik Ten Hag is going to have to help him. Onana will get more leeway because it's his first season. You don't sign a £45 million goalkeeper, he have a bad 10 games, and then you just boot him out of the team. That's not going to happen. Rashford and Casemiro, they had their trust from Erik Ten Hag from last season. Onana, he has his trust from Ten Hag of their time together at Ajax. But Onana, it's not going to be an endless amount of trust. He's going to have to turn it around because that mistake there, another bad mistake that led direct. Look, if you're a goalkeeper and you make mistakes, it leads directly to goals. That's why the scrutiny on goalkeepers is probably more intense than any other player on the pitch. But so many of these mistakes are avoidable, and Onana simply has to be better. Now that game, number 5 on this list, right? That game there, I mean, my word, this injury crisis, it's verging on being biblical. It's ridiculous. For Manchester United in 2023 to be putting out a team there with a defensive Lindelof at right back, Maguire as right centre-back, Evans as left centre-back, and Dalot, I've got that wrong actually, it's Dalot at right back. It was Maguire as right centre-back. It was Lindelof. Oh, jeez, I ballsed all that up completely. Sod knows. It was a crap defence. Lindelof at right back, Maguire and Evans as the 2 centre-backs, and Dalot at left back. All right? Our first choice, whole first choice defence is gone. Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. It's ridiculous. That's why Ten Hag had to play such a defensive formation because he wanted to protect that defence and it didn't even get protected. Something's got to give. Whether it's slightly easier training sessions, whether it's Gary O'Driscoll coming in and working a miracle as our new club doctor, something has to give. Something has to change because these injuries, it's just ridiculous. But there are, for the last 6 weeks or so, it's just been a slow creeping downward spiral. We kind of felt like we were going into a bit of a tailspin in that game there. So for Scott McTominay to come up with the goods for Erik Ten Hag was a monumental moment for United in this season that can hopefully change the direction of the ship. It needs to. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Is there anything else I missed from the game that you think we should be talking about? You let me know. You always do. And as I said, drop a like on the video. Come on. McTominay. Yes, please.